It's my feel-good breakfast show.
It's Monday, the 26th of August, just about 3 minutes past the half-an-hour mark, and time right now for us to talk some tech news on your feel-good breakfast show on this Monday morning. Now, have you ever wanted to learn sign language? Yes?
I've always wanted to learn sign language.
Yes, indeed. So Google has officially released new technology that can interpret and read aloud sign language when captured by a smartphone camera. And here to unpack this amazing technology with us, our friend in tech, Bryan Smith. Great to have you with us.
Thanks very much. Always so good, always so good. Let's start right at the beginning. So how exactly will this technology work?
So this is particularly fascinating in that there are already some systems on the market and that are freely available that can do this. However, Google's done two Google researchers have contributed some really amazing research that essentially does two things really well. So the first, as you mentioned, is using a smartphone camera to interpret sign language, which is perhaps the most accessible form of camera and internet connectivity that you can have on the market today. And secondly, they've invented a system that through artificial intelligence, through a machine learning algorithm, can actually track hand movements in 3D. So what I mean by that is they were able to overlay 21 points on each of your individual hands. And that means you can not only track individual signs, phrases, for example, but you can actually track the full rotation of your hands around. And that's really important because within sign language, the speed and intonation of your gesture obviously means as much as it does in spoken language.
Wow. Okay, so this is really fascinating stuff. But let's talk about all the things that need to be considered when you are translating sign language and how this technology is unique. Like you said, there are other versions, but how is this one particularly unique?
So what's pretty awesome is that if you consider it perhaps in educational settings, for example, where a person with hearing disabilities might need an interpreter, one of the biggest challenges, especially if you're learning online or trying to digest something online, is the fact that cameras themselves can't interpret things beyond a 2D fashion. So if you're trying to use one of these systems at the moment and you're interpreting sign language, essentially what you might miss out is essentially intonations, gestures, or, as I mentioned, the 3D rotation of your hands around an axis. What the system can actually do is track intonation, help you focus on facial expressions as well, to get the full breadth of meaning in language beyond just simple interpretation of phrases or characters.
Because I mean, like simply when you have translation right now, it reads the text and just kind of says the words, but there is no feeling in them, so to speak.
Something also to consider is that just like spoken language, sign language has different dialects and different sort of regional accents all around the world. So this is
I didn't
sort
know
of the
that.
first step in interpreting that in a real-life session through computer imaging.
This is great. I think it's going to avoid all those times where you try and translate something into a different language, but the meaning is completely different. You don't know, you use it in the wrong context. But could we see an app support for this feature, and how could we really use that in real life, in everyday life?
So this is actually my favorite part about the story, is that typically Google will go make its own application that you can usually download for free. However, they haven't copyrighted or patented this research at all beyond crediting the authors, essentially. And what that means is that any app developer around the world will now be able to use this technology in their own application. So instead of just having one single source of truth, we'll have an array of different smartphone applications that will be more reliably able to translate sign language.
Wow. Fascinating stuff. Fascinating. Thanks, Bryan, for your time and expertise. Always do appreciate it very, very much. And of course, be sure to keep up with the latest technology news on bandwidthblog.com.
Get an insurance quote and stand a chance to win one of 6 Samsung S10 smartphones. Simply SMS the keyword INSURE to 31492 for a callback and quote, and you could be a winner.